Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Wednesday, July the 17th. Race number 8 at Saratoga. Let's take a look at the field for one of the New York Stallion Series events. We're going 1 mile on the inner turf. This one is for 3-year-old filly New York breds, Overflow Field. The 11 and the 12 are also eligibles, and it's also a wide open bunch. Note the morning line favorite, the 3 Solo Shot, who beat 4 of these last time out, albeit sprinting, is a 4-1 favorite.
Yeah, distance is the main question of this race too, Dan. Most of these horses have been concentrating on sprints so far. There's some surface switchers in here too. 4-1 favorite on the morning line, and the race handicaps that way.
Let's throw up our Timeform US pace projector, and Timeform US believes the pace is going to be hot. As I mentioned, Solo Shot is stretching out in distance, but I'm not sure she necessarily needs the lead. I think if Cap Ferrat, switching from dirt to turf for Safi Joseph, wants it, she can get it. I also think that Sohana is going to be forwardly placed, also stretching out.
I agree with all that stuff. Solo Shot proved in the Cubicle Joy division of this race, of this series last time, Dan, that she doesn't need the lead to be effective and stretching out. Maybe they'll get a little more conservative this time. I thought the 5 would make the lead, and I agree with you. I think Sohana, she almost has to get more aggressively ridden this time.
And note the LP designation over the number 6, Baroness Bourbon. That means that 15-1 shot has the fastest Timeform US late pace rating. We'll kick things off with a filly trying turf for the first time. That's the number 1, Tourgette. She's by War Dancer, 12% winners with turf routers. The Dam was a stakes place turf sprinter. She's a half to a 5-time turf stakes winner, and she's full 2 turf winners. So there's enough turf here as she makes her turf debut, second off a long layoff.
I like that about her. I like the pedigree for this horse, and she's going to be a price in this race. I also like the inside draw for her, Dan. You know, we'll see, how much she can improve on turf, because she clearly has to improve in here. I know her dirt races don't look like much. I actually feel like she's run pretty well in a couple of those dirt races. I think she might be a little underrated.
The 2 is Sohana. Flavian Pratt regains the mount aboard this Brad Cox daughter of Solomini. 4th in the turf debut in the New York Stallion Series behind a Solo Shot. She just didn't get as forwardly placed as usual in that race.
Didn't break that well from the gate, Dan, and then she just wound up too far away. That was not a race where you necessarily wanted to be closing. And she was just, to me, way too far away. Listen, Pratt did everything he could. He saved a lot of ground with her. She had an inside run through the stretch, and she was making up ground. She doesn't have a huge turf pedigree. I actually feel like she handled the surface switch pretty well last time. I'll be interested to see how she stretches out.
Here's our morning line favorite, albeit a tepid one. Solo Shot, 4-1 on the morning line. Here she is winning an edition of the New York Stallion Series, going 6 furlongs. And all in all, I thought the trip was there for Solo Shot, Mike. She's down inside, just waiting for a seam to run at the 3/16. She does find that seam, and once she does, she's on her way.
Very game to get up in this race, because the horse that she's closing down here, the horse that's on the lead right now, first time turf, yes, but a big favorite in this race. Had run some fast races, and a very game finish here from Solo Shot to get the job done. She's one of those horses that we're going to talk about it with some others in here who, some horses have to really improve with the surface switch. That's what Solo Shot has done. She's way better on the grass.
My Shady Lady has run well on dirt. She ran okay in her turf debut, the race we just saw. She was 5th in that race, and she followed Solo Shot down towards the inside on the backstretch, got out in the lane, and just sort of clunked up belatedly at the end. It was her first start off of a 2-month layoff, and maybe stretching out in a race with a little bit more pace will help her out.
I wonder how much it'll help her out. I could be a little forgiving, I guess, for that turf debut last time, if for no other reason that she had to go outside through the stretch while everybody else was sort of saving a lot of ground in that race. And, that includes Sohana, who just outfinished her at the end of that race for 4th. So I don't know. I guess she ran okay in that race. I'm not a huge fan. I didn't necessarily want to bet her back, but she'll be a good price in here.
Number 5 is Cap Ferrat, moving dirt to turf after a debut victory at Gulfstream Park back in May. Listed as a vet scratch on June the 9th. She sold for a lot of money as a yearling, considering she's by Belmont Stakes winner Destin, only 3% winners from turf routers. There's a lot of turf going back in this family, however. The second Dam was a grade 3 stakes winner, and a lot of European turf influences behind that.
Yeah, exactly. There's enough turf on the bottom to, I guess, get you interested. This sire just hasn't really done that much so far, so we'll see how much of a difference it makes. I mean, I don't know, Dan. I kind of liked her debut. I thought she did sort of everything right in there. I respect her speed in this race. It's not like she's facing a bunch of killers here as she steps in with New York bred horses. I don't know. I mean, I didn't love her, but I'm a little bit afraid of this horse.
It was good to see her win at 7 furlongs as well, a daunting distance for a first-time starter, and she was pretty game. I think the mile is well within her scope, and maybe if they back off, they let her away with an easy early lead. Baroness Bourbon, the number 6, tried some older horses last time out in a first-level allowance, just didn't really fire at a big price. She'll be long odds once again, and is hoping for a meltdown.
Yeah, her dirt form, isn't great, and that first turf start last time, it doesn't give you a lot of confidence as she, moves into this race. We'll see if she can just maybe get a little bit of a better trip, Dan. She's going to be a huge price once again, but she's hard to get behind.
The number 7 is Spirit of Esther, who's only raced twice on turf, but she certainly improved getting out to a mile in her most recent start. This maiden claimer where she finishes second. Maybe it was the drop in class, maybe it was getting out in distance, but she did give an improved performance, and I doubt we've seen her best, but this is a little bit of a step up in class.
Yeah, I like that at least she ran the best race of her career so far the first time they stretched her out. So we'll see if she can do it again. All in all, I just thought she got a really good trip in this race and had a shot at this thing at the 8th pole there, even though she drifted to the inside. And she's just no match here, and she's only second best. I will say, though, it's a maiden 40 down. The horse that won that race starts now. I think she's a little bit better than a maiden claiming type of horse. She'd been a little bit unlucky. They finally had to drop her, but she's pretty good.
Amy's Light, the number 8's only raced once on turf. It was a useful effort against open starter optional claimers. Let's watch that race on June the 20th. Amy's Light's going to finish third. She was a huge price in this race, and it was one of her better efforts. So it really seems like she handles the surface. Stretching out against these kind of horses is a different story.
Exactly. Don't mind them coming back to turf with her. Obviously, this could be the best race that she's ever run. The trip was there for her. She does her best with it, and just sort of gamely prevails for third in this race. Again, another horse that she's hard to really like, but she's another probably really big price in this race.
Being Betty is the number 9 in her turf route in the Tepin, her one and only stakes try last year. She was really rated hard out of the gate, a race where it looked like she would show a little bit of speed, hung out wide and didn't do too much. We saw a rebound last time out, third in the solo shot race. She was pressing the big favorite early and only got tired in the final strides. I'm just curious to see what sort of trip we're going to get here, stretching out to a mile. If she can rate successfully, maybe she sort of sits the garden spot in third on the outside.
I kind of like them stretching her back out in here again. I don't know. I thought she was kind of a tough call in here because she ran fine last time in the solo shot race, and she was outside. So I guess maybe you could give her a little more credit for that. I still didn't really feel like she had much of an excuse in that race. It just wasn't quite good enough. The race 2 back when they went 2 turns with her at Aqueduct, I don't know what happened at the start there, but she was way to the back. She was way too far away that day.
Bossy Jeans is the final horse in the body of the field. She really put it all together in her first start as a 3-year-old. This is her first race in about 8 months or so for trainer Michael Maker. She had blinkers on. They dropped her into a $40,000 claimer, and Bossy Jeans was able to get the lead in a very nice breather on the backstretch. She really sprints on home the final 3/16, and nobody's running at her.
Yeah, this is the right. Not only is it the right spot for her, Dan. Super soft trip on the lead for this race. She does finish it off pretty nicely, though. Her maiden special weight turf routes at the end of last year. I mean, I don't know what you thought about them. I didn't see excuses for her. I know that she was big prices in those races, but I thought she got good trips, and she just to me looked like a horse who wasn't good enough to go with horses like that, and she needed that drop that she got last time.
Both the 11 and the 12 were entered also eligibles, and I have to admit, I think it's a tough spot for either if they get in.
I agree with that. I mean, I guess the 11 Starlight, that's just a little interesting, but she'd have to move forward.
Before we take a look at our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Top pick time for our Wednesday race of the day. It's a wide open race. I'm surprised we ended up on the same horse, looking for a price with the first-time turf runner, the One Tour Jet. Just hoping for a trip with Jose Ortiz aboard. I think there's enough turf pedigree.
Me too. I like her pedigree. It's the kind of race where I'm just sort of looking for that new face in her. That I don't want the horses necessarily who are going to be short prices. I hope she gets a trip from the rail here. Sohana was the other horse for me. I'm a fan of hers. I think she'll be more forward this time, and I thought she handled the turf well last time.
1297 for Mike, 1925 for me in the New York Stallion Series on Wednesday. This race is for the 2-year-old fillies at the Spa. Good luck.